Hey guys, I'm getting a lot of requests to do some sort of review on both the new Sum 41 album and the new Green Day album. And try and bear with me, my throat's been a little crappy lately. I've been a little under the weather, so I'm going to try and get through this for you. I'll start with the Sum 41 first, just because that was the one I was actually at least a little interested in. I know a lot of you probably know that I was a lot more of a fan when Dave was in the band, and the fact that he was back in the band this past year definitely gave me some interest in the new album, because if he wasn't in it, I don't even think I would be making this video right now. So what I can really say is that you can really hear his presence in the band again. There's some really great guitar solos, and I think the album as a whole just sounds better produced than a lot of their last couple albums. I don't know what it was with the last few albums, but their guitar sound has just been so bad lately. Like, it sounds like they're playing with just like the worst amps, and just, I know that's not what the case is, but it gave that vibe that they just didn't have a strong guitar sound. And when you listen to Chuck and you listen to Infected and All Killer, they had big guitar sounds, and regardless of whether or not Dave was in the band anymore, at least studio-wise, it should still sound big and full, and they didn't. So I'm really happy that this album has gone back to that big sound. I don't know if they had somebody else producing. I don't know any real info on who produced this album or the last couple or whatever. But if they had gotten somebody new than who they usually use, then it was definitely the right choice. And if they use the same person, then I don't know, they made some smarter choices this time around. I think that Derek's voice sounds a lot stronger than it had the past couple albums. I know he was battling with alcoholism over the past couple years, so it sounds like he's getting a better handle on that. And I think it shows in his voice. And I don't know, it does sound like older Sum 41 to me. And like I said, I do think it does have a lot to do with Dave being back, because it just sounds a little bit more aggressive. It sounds a little more pissed off in a way. I don't know. It definitely reminds me of Chuck. With a few years just to add to it. I feel like it's the album that should have come after Chuck, to be honest. Like, I could completely forget that the last two albums came out and be totally fine with that. That being said, I mean, the songs don't really blow me away, but I disliked the last few albums so much that in comparison, it's just so much better, I do think, personally, that the first half of this new album is a lot stronger than the second half. I just feel like all the best songs were kind of towards the front, and then it just kind of fades out into nothingness. I don't know. So I don't know. I even listened to a couple of the bonus tracks too. The bonus tracks were okay. Hard to say if they were actually fully finished to the point of where they wanted them to be. So I don't know. So they've had some bonus tracks before where you could tell, like, or not just them, but like any band, bonus tracks that they wanted to add more to, but they're like, yeah, fuck it, let's just put it out. So, I don't know. Maybe the bonus tracks could have been a little better. Maybe not. But I definitely say that the album is worth checking out if you were a fan of the older days, um, before, what was it, Screaming Bloody Murder? No, Underclass Hero. Either one of those albums, really. So if those albums didn't do it for you, I would say check this one out. It's definitely a step in the right direction. I don't think it's amazing, but I do think that it's pretty solid effort. I'm definitely not disappointed in it at all. And I will say the first listen through the whole album I did a couple days ago, whatever day it was, I really wasn't feeling it. And then just for the hell of it this morning, I gave it another chance and I listened through it again, and I was definitely a lot happier the second time through. I'm not sure what changed for me, but I don't know. I just listened a little closer, and I definitely agreed with it. So that's all I really have to say about the Sum 41 album, anyway. And because I don't have too much to say about the Green Day album, I'm just going to throw it on this video anyway, instead of making it a whole new video. I haven't listened to new Green Day since whatever album had 21 Guns on it. I can't remember the name of it. The one right after American Idiot. So I didn't listen to the Uno, Dos, Tres, and I'm kind of blanking on if there actually wasn't another album other than those since. But from what I listened to of the new Green Day album, it sounds like Green Day. I don't think it sounds bad. I'm just not really in the mood for another album that pretty much just sounds like all the other albums that I've heard so many times. I don't know. Maybe it'll grow on me, and I'll want to listen to it more. I don't know. Time will tell. But just Green Day as a band just haven't really done much for me lately. I really overdid them during like the American Idiot days, and since then I've really only listened to the 90s stuff and Warning. I love Warning. But that seems to be the stuff that I really listen to. So that being said, I mean, I thought the music sounded good on this new album. I thought it was pretty well produced. I mean, it was very polished for Green Day. I mean, so were the last couple. But I mean, some bands, that's a good thing, I guess, because they've always sounded that way. But Green Day, when you get too polished, it sounds too perfect. It doesn't sound like, it doesn't have their soul to it anymore. It doesn't sound like it's actually them playing in a way. I don't know how else to really explain it. It just loses a little bit of its character and its attitude when you just overproduce it. That being said, I thought it sounded good. The songs, they sound like Green Day. If you like Green Day, you're probably gonna like this. But I've just been kind of over Green Day the past few years. It hasn't really done anything for me. If it came on the radio or something, I wouldn't necessarily turn it off. I'd be like, all right, yeah, cool. But I'm not in any rush to buy it and put it in my music collection. That's the best way I can really explain it. So it sounds all right. If you've been a fan of the last couple albums, I'm sure you'd enjoy this one. And if not, then you probably wouldn't like it. I don't know. So, excuse me. That's about all I got. If you got any questions or anything, feel free to let me know. I don't mind doing these CD reviews, but there's definitely a lot of other YouTube channels out there that really take the reviews very seriously, and they base like their whole channels around it, like that, and like top 10 lists and whatever. So I mean, these aren't really super high on my list for priorities anyway. Mostly just been focusing on writing my own music. So stuff like this, I don't mind doing if I get a free moment or I just need a break from writing. So if you got any suggestions for other videos, feel free to leave them below. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that I'll be able to do them, but I try to please you guys, the best I can, and appreciate you watching. So yeah, that's all I got. See you later.